Okay, quick video on how to get rid of chromatic aberration. First thing I'm going to do with this image is turn it upside down. And that's only for now. You can see all along the outline up here. And further into the image, there's some blue fringing, especially where this road or footpath meets these trees. And we're going to try and reduce the effects of that, and where you can see up the top of the image you got this yellow and red fringing, which is all to do with the glass showing the reflection has created some quite strong colour fringes. So old school and quick and dirty way to get rid of the worst of these. First we're going to create a new layer. I'm going to have to do it from this panel up here. We're going to just duplicate the layer. I can't use the shortcuts because the screen recorder shortcuts interfere, so just do it this way. And what we're going to do is try and desaturate these blue first, but we're also we can do it all in one sweep just for this video. If I was doing it myself, I would do it in separate layers, but the first layer will just come up to this panel up here, your adjustments panel, and you want to get a hue and saturation. These panels are available in most versions of Photoshop, certainly are in 5.6, which we're using just now, and it will be available in the later version. Once you've got this panel up, come up here, we're going to tackle the blues first. And when you've got this set to blues, you want to take the colour picker, which is this here, and the colour picker, we're on blue, the colour picker has already decided that's the range of blue that we want to get rid of. Well, we're actually going to zoom in a wee bit further even, and we're very zoomed in, you don't have to go this far in, but it lets you isolate. There's different shades of blue within this. We'll go along to one end, usually where it's dark, you'll see very dark at this corner to almost green at this side. So use a colour picker, and look what it's did up to here. It's selected this range of blue, but that range is going to bleed off to almost red, and at the bottom end it's the lighter blue. So we'll go with the blues first. You can zoom back out a bit, and you've created a mask out of this. So we've selected this blue, and it'll have selected all the blues matching that. It may not have came down to the strongest, so you can hit the plus symbol here and include other bits of blue that might not have been picked up that first pass. And what we're going to do is hit Control and I on your keyboard, hold the Control key and then tap I. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself, don't hit Control and I just yet, hit Control and I again, and it doesn't really matter, you've got a black mask there. You can just hold Control and I and it will go back to being a white mask. It really doesn't matter about that bit just yet. But what we're going to do, we've selected our colour, go up to the saturation bar, just drag it down a bit. And I think you're probably going to have to go almost minus 100% to get rid of it. And you'll see it's left what's almost like a false outline. We'll have to tackle that after. If you zoom back out the way now, I mean that's a good first attempt. We can turn the mask off, and that's what it's done just with that one little bit. Now see, we've lost some of the colour in the building. Not much. and a little bit of colour in the trees. So what you do is now you hit Control and I, and we've hidden what we've just done behind a mask. Zoom back up, and we'll go along to one side of the image. And if you hit B on your keyboard, select the brush. If you hit D, it will give you your default black and white colours here. We've got a black mask, so we're going to paint on in white, and hopefully we'll reduce the worst of these. Brush size, tile up yourself. With a bamboo, we can quickly change the brush size just by right clicking. You don't want to go too small with the brush. And this is how we do it. I don't know about this bit up here, I'm just going to leave that there just now. But now, a little tip if you're using a bamboo, works on pressure. So if you press hard, it's going to remove everything in one go, or you can do it 2 or 3 less pressurized passes, and it'll remove stuff just the same. Now, how far into your picture you want to go for removing this? But you can see there's 2 bushes here. You can gently paint them almost all out one at a time, or a little bit at a time. Or the other thing would be to use a mouse and get rid of everything in a oneer, and where you think you've lost. Just a quick aside for that, if you're using a pen will take small strokes and it will release it's almost like the opacity of your pen is kind of dropped depending on what pressure you're using. And you can paint in to 100%, and you can't go over 100%. Or alternatively, use a mouse. The mouse is going to work at whatever setting you have up here for your opacity and where the mouse would almost certainly take some of the colour out from here, even if you're using a very, very small brush. It works 100% and it'll take something more out than what you want out. So you can take a few minutes to go around all this. There's some colour distortion in amongst the rocks as well, it's just where the lights fell off. So I'm just going to quickly go and do this. And you'll see that you get left with some artifacts of other colours. Again, we can do just what we've done here and create another layer and go in and remove that as well. So that would be your first pass. Come back down here, you'll see that there's a fair bit in here as well. Maybe we get a bit more pressure on the. I wouldn't take every single bit of blue out it because it's going to look totally unnatural if there's none. But by doing it this way, you can be quite precise in where you're taking a colour from. I'm going to zoom really in quite far to this, and you'll see that there's a fair bit happening in here. Just reduce the brush a little bit. And you'll see there's parts of the blue that it's not actually got. And there's other parts that it's got just perfect. At any time you can pick the colour picker and go in and change what your brush is selecting. Remember, this barrier here is probably only a couple of inches in size, so it really isn't going to take up that much of your picture. And just for speed, I'm just going to use the mouse and go 100% with this rather than the pen. You see the difference by using the mouse, it just completely, you don't get much option and pressure or anything like that, it just takes everything out. And it might take out parts that you're not really wanting taken out. But the beauty of masks is you can take a mask off and you can put it back on. So we're just quickly taking all this off. As I say, we're at a really high zoom level. We're at 300%, and you're almost never going to print a picture out at 300%. But it may well be examined with a magnifying glass at 300% when you have printed it out. So. Okay, that's as much as I need to think we do with that. We can just do a quick pass over that. I'm not going too far into this because it's going to take some colour out of there. So if we zoom back out now, that's the worst of it out on the first pass. Some more here would go back up that are really obvious. Just ensuring you get your white mask. There's little bits in here, you know, you're not going to take every single bit out, but some in here are still quite blue. And what you have to be careful is where the blue bleeds into green. You might end up making your picture look black and white when it's not a black and white picture. Okay, so that would be the first pass. It's going to be a bit longer than you wanted. You then go and make another new layer. Oh, sorry, another. I might just at the bottom menu get another hue and saturation layer. And this time you'd be going for this kind of amber fringe if you wanted it off. You not necessarily have it off, but again, highlight the layer you're going to work on. Kind of reddy yellow. I'll look at the red first. So maybe take the red and we'll add in the yellow. I'll just do a small bit of this to see how it works. Again, go back to your colour picker. Pick the colour you're going to take, which is the kind of yellow colour, and then go back to the plus sign up here and add in the red. So it's now covering that whole range from the red out to almost to the green. And then again, we're just going to desaturate, and this is going to have a big effect on your image overall. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Again, you're almost 100% desaturation, and we're still going to be left with these little bits here, so you maybe have to come another layer to do the pinks. Now if we zoom away out in this, you'll see that's really affected the colour of your image. So again, it'd be a choice whether you're doing that or not. If you invert the layer again, you'll see just how much that did affect. But then you get your brush, so again hit B on the keyboard, D to make sure it's a black and white, because sometimes you've got grey in there, it's not quite the same. Your mask has the layers highlighted. Go white to the foreground, and we can go and paint that out, and you'll see it'll work here as well. Do a couple of passes, you don't need to paint every single bit out. Some of that pink is probably where it it's kind of changing a pink colour rather than that. So let's just take a little bit out here. Small passes, small passes, small passes. Then you're going to be left with this kind of faded. So it's up to you. It affects your sharpness. And I'm just going to do a little bit of this colour here, so it'll show you how we fix that. Okay, so that's that being desaturated to these colours. Now you see we've got quite a faded outline around here. And the way you fix that, you've got your brush. You can either go back down to here, create an empty layer. Go layer, new layer. It's just an empty layer. I'm not calling it anything. Here it's where you would hold Alt key, get the colour picker, pick a little bit colour near to where you're going to paint. Again, zoom it in and decrease the size of your brush. And just where you're getting these worst fringes, we're just going to paint in a little bit of the colour so it solidifies it back up. Now don't worry if you go over lines a wee bit. I would suggest you reduce your opacity of your brush down to about 30% and build up. And hitting all and just continually resampling the paint the closest to where you're doing it. So you can do that. I'm going to undo all of that. Let's just hit the eraser and just erase all that just now. Bring it all back out. You can only erase what you put in, so don't worry. I might have been too close or neat with that. You can do that. Or alternatively would be to paint in with white, or the nearest colour to white to again reduce the effects. Keep resampling all the time when you're doing it with white though. And you want that almost zero hardness for your brush here. Close to where you're going to paint and just gently bleed it out. And I would only go in this till you get a solid kind of appearance to it. So that's roughly what you would do. Do it a wee bit bigger. Okay, you see this is taking quite a bit of time just for a tiny little bit of defringing, and that's sort of what you can do. And when you put it back out, you see it looks not too bad. And you would have to do that with the worst parts of the frame of the building as well. At that size, it's barely noticeable, but this fringe is noticeable, so it's really entirely what you would do yourself. You could then just flatten all these layers together into this one here. So if we hold the shift key and highlight the top and the bottom one, and then we've got this little drop down here, and we say new group from layer. Call it whatever you want, or not call it anything at all. Use the mouse here, it's easier. And then we can just turn this on and off, and we'll get a better idea of what, if any, of our improvements I've done. I'm just going to take that fringe out of the top, I think. I would be tempted to get this mask on and this hue and saturation here and take that out because I don't like it, but I wouldn't do the whole image like that, and I might even do some of this guardrail down here because it's fairly obvious discolouring. Small brush for this and try and work only on the guardrail. But for every colour you take out, you'll see there's another colour appears, like this green. But I would probably take that green out anyway. Just take a little one or two passes. You're not completely want to get rid of it. That's where it's at, it's most obvious. Even in your path here there's some there, but I'll probably leave that where it is. And you're not going to completely take the image apart. Yeah, that would do it. So again, close this group back up and take the image out a little bit, and there's a before, sorry, there's an after, and there's a before. See, there's quite a difference, and all you have to do, make sure you select the colour you want to get rid of for here. In this first layer it was blue. Desaturate it, create a mask, well the mask already created once you made this kind of layer. Invert it, which is Control and I, and then just paint off the mask.